what's up? This is Kevin from CGR Undertow, and today's alphabet lesson is that T is for the totally tubular and tight TURBOGRAFX 16. Oh man, yes, that's right. And yeah, you might notice it's T-shaped because this also includes the Turbo CD add-on. That's right. So the TurboGrafx was released in Japan as the PC engine in 1987 and was eventually brought to North America in 1989, so quite a bit later. It had been doing fairly well over in Japan, so they thought it might be worth a shot to try and bring it over here. It was developed by NEC and Hudson Soft, and it's got an 8-bit CPU and a 16-bit GPU, or graphics processor. So it's a little bit arguable whether or not it's a 16-bit console. You know, it does have graphics comparable to the Genesis and the Super Nintendo, although it's kind of lacking the horsepower to really utilize that 16-bit GPU. So there's not as much parallax scrolling, or not enough RAM for some of the larger games for the original TG16. And that's what they added the CD drive for, to kind of make it beefier. But let's take a quick look at some of the features here. This part here is the TG16 unit, and everything else is part of the CD drive add-on. So you can, let's take this apart here. You unlock it, this slides out. This actually functions as a kind of a Discman if you want it to. Alright, so that pulls out like so, and then the original TG16 did have a plastic covering for this expansion port. So it was, kind of a big box, pretty slick. Not very tall, so it didn't take up a whole lot of space. It is quite wide. But there's the port for the cards. So the game cards look like that. These are the HU cards. Pop in a Devil's Crush like so, and then you flip it to turn it on. That part locks in there. Other features include one controller port and an RF out. There's your channel 3 and 4 switch. There's your AC adapter plug there. So the one controller port is a bit troublesome, but if you have the turbo tap, then you can have up to 5. So then that just plugs into there. It's a 8-pin connector. Goes in like that. And turbo tap's definitely essential. Check out my review of that and the controller, which I posted a few days ago. So that's the turbo pad controller that comes with the system, turbo switches and all. And then with the CD drive, you do get an expansion as far as your output goes. You got AV out, there's your AC adapter plug there. So you just, any standard composite video cable will work for that. So the TG16 definitely had a bit of a hard time competing with the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. And a lot of that was due to the games. Developers, didn't really want to make games for it until it was popular, and it wasn't popular because there weren't enough games for it. But there were some really cool ones, like the Bonk series, you got the East series, a lot of really great shooters. And luckily, a lot of those are being re-released on things like the Wii's Virtual Console. So the legacy of the TG16 still lives on. So keep an eye out here on Undertow for some more TurboGrafx 16 game reviews. So see you next time. Turbo!